Hey now, welcome back to Lone Star Mini Restoration. Today I am removing the crankshaft from my 1275 engine. All right, so in removing my crankshaft, that basically, I believe, that completes the entire disassembly of the engine block. I still have to do the gearbox, but the block will be complete minus some seals and gaskets and stuff like that. One note in that until a week ago, give or take, I had been using one specific Haynes manual, the Haynes manual from 1969 to 2001. Well, while it has some good information in it, the older Haynes manuals, it was pointed out to me by Rich Allen, again with Mini Performance, that these older Haynes manuals for the Mini are so much better, and already I agree. For example, in removing the crankshaft, let's see if that can pick that up. And removing the crankshaft for the new guy. I mean, these books are designed for the DIYers, right? So for those DIYers like me that's new to all this, the older or the newer Haynes manual basically gives wonderful instructions, but it leaves a lot to be desired, like thrust washers and bearings. And it's like, okay, well, what's a thrust washer? What's this? What's that? They don't give any pictures. They don't give any diagrams whatsoever. But these bad boys, the older manuals, give a much better layout of the engine. So I highly recommend getting the older manuals, the older Haynes manuals, because now I know what a thrust washer at least looks like. The other one told me to remove it and be careful, make sure it goes back with the same. And I was like, what's the upper thrust washer? What's the lower? I didn't know. Well, now I know, so now I can go look. But all right, here we go. All right, right off the bat, before anything is removed, I have been educated in that I need to mark the caps and the con rods before I remove them. And the reason being, the caps have to go back with the same connecting rods, which have to go back in the same cylinder with the piston. So as I inspect this one, because I got my punch out and I was going to mark it, upon further investigation, I have learned that they have all been marked. This is cylinder number 2, and as you can see there, it's inscribed with cylinder number 2. Likewise, coming over here to cylinder number 3, both cap and con rod have been marked with cylinder number 3. And I believe, I can't see it right now because of the angle. Oh, there's part of it, but both the connecting rod and the cap on cylinder number 4 have been marked number 4. Number 1 has not been marked, but that's okay, because all the others are marked. Oh, well, wait a minute, hold on. Or maybe it's been marked as well, 1 and 1. Anyhow, so that's already done for me. The other thing was that these, I'm not sure what these guys are called, but the Haynes manual says if they're not properly indicated, then these need to be marked too. 1, 2, 3. They're already identified, so I don't have to mark anything on those. I mean, you can see the numbers, and now that I have it on video, I know exactly where they go. This one's not hard to know because it's got this larger spherical emboss in it, along with numbers, but that one's a center one, and this one has a different number, 12G 1433. All right, starting with piston 1, these are I say special, I don't know if they're special or not, but they're 1/2 inch 12-point nuts. And I've got my breaker bar. Rather than using my impact gun, which would pull them right off, I'm gonna do this manually. All right. There's the first cap. So I assume this is a bearing, if I can get it out of here. All right, so there's a bearing. See, that went in that way. All right, and I think that's an oil hole for oil, but now, all right, I'm gonna pull the, I guess this is knocking the piston through top of the engine. All right, before I bolt this back on, an observation that I just made is that there is a notch right there in both the cap and the connecting rod. Well, on the bearing, let me see if I can rotate this around. On the bearing, we have the same. We have a matching protrusion. So those, it's like a puzzle. It just kind of goes together. The way it goes in, it can only go in one way. Voila. So now I will match these sides. So now that I've removed one, the others should be straightforward. All right, with the all four pistons out, I am now left with, I think these are called main bearing caps. 1, 2, 3. So now is to remove those with the bearings, and I believe the center one has thrust washers on either side. So we'll see once we get everything loose here. One thing I've decided about these engine stands is that they need locks on the wheels to help keep them from rolling. Because we're applying, like right now I'm applying so much pressure. There we go. First one's loose. Now I believe this is the same case. You have to keep the bearings together with the caps. So I'm going to take one off and see what it's like. These are longer bolts. Not all this time I thought they were nuts, so they're bolts. Oh yes, I forgot on this one. On the one near the radiator, you're supposed to remove 2 bolts that hold the engine plate in, but when I remove the plate, I remove those bolts, so they're now gone. There would have been those 2 bolts there, one there and one there. 1, 2. But they're already gone, so that's a done deal. Okay, that seal just came loose. This end cap came off. The bearing is still inside of it, and it too, I noticed that it too has a notch for the bearing, a mating match, I guess. A protrusion in the bearing and a notch in the cap. All right, so the end cap near the radiator or the water pump is labeled 12G 1429. That's for my future reference. All right, so that's that one. There's a couple washers here. I don't know if they should have been pulled off already or what. I'm going to leave them on for now. All right, so that one's done. All right, that one looks like it's coming off without. All right, so there, okay, there is the center main bearing, and the bearing's still in there, and I see the thrust washers in here, so I'm gonna pull those out, but put this in order down here. All right, that must be a thrust washer. That's a top one on the water pump side. I'm going to put that in order. Okay, here's the other upper thrust washer. That's the one closest to the flywheel. In order. Now, there's supposed to be a lower thrust washer, and I think I'm supposed to rotate this bad boy to get, ooh, well, I see it. How do I get it out? Maybe when I lift this whole thing out, then I can get to the ones on the bottom. All right, so let me go to this guy over here. Let me go to the last cap. All right. This cap is labeled 12G 1433, and that's the cap closest to the flywheel. All right, it looks like this guy is ready to come out. Now, those thrust washers are still in there. Now, here's one. Looks like it's trying to come around. Or not. Okay, this one came out. All right, so here's the, you know what? I didn't realize the engine's upside down. So this is actually the top thrust washer, but it's the one closest to the flywheel. And then there is one more, and here she comes. All right, here it is. That's the top thrust washer closest to the water pump. All right, I think she's ready, right? Let's see. Holy moly, the camshaft is now out. All right, my crankshaft is now out. There's bearings are still in there. I know there's like some rubber grommets here and there, and there's a plate on here, this plate here. I have to remove some other things, and then I actually start cleaning the block up. But before I start cleaning the block up, my next task is to kind of inspect everything. You know, never having done any of this before, I don't really know what I'm looking for when I inspect it, and I'll seek the help of others to give me guidance on that. But hey, I also want to say thank you to a YouTube member that goes by the name of Frankenhorse. Now, I don't know where you are in this world. Maybe you pronounce that differently, but the way I read it, I say Frankenhorse. Maybe it's Frankenhorse, or I don't know. Depends on where you are in the world. But Frankenhorse gave me some great tips on the oil pump that nobody else has, and I haven't been able to find it in Haynes manual. And it's tips like that that help people like me. It just helps tremendously. So thank you very, very much, Frankenhorse. Thank you for your help. All right. I'm going to move on. So again, thanks for checking in, and bye just now.